Welcome, fellow Zionists, to a special edition of our weekly briefing. I am Saul Lisbrand, president of Jewish National Fund USA. I would like to thank all the professionals, volunteers, and guest speakers who worked hard to put together today's program. And now please welcome Rabbi Erez Sherman, Rabbi at Sinai Temple, Los Angeles, and JNF USA Rabbis for Israel Chairman, Rabbi Sherman.
Thank you, Saul. It's a pleasure to be here this morning. I was asked to say a word of prayer, but first a word of gratitude. I'm actually a Columbia University alum. There's a couple of diplomas over my shoulder, and I really want to thank Professor Davidai for what you have done, what you continue to do to make sure that our alma mater is restored to a place where Zionist and Jewish students can feel comfortable. In 2000, I was a freshman. The height of the second Intifada, I was a music major. And so I played music, but I didn't really speak up. And it was actually my freshman year roommate, who is a student in Professor Joseph Mossad's classes, the first time I heard of him. And to realize that for 20 years, his education has now educated a generation of people that we now see, as you saw Professor Davidai, I believe, on October 12th, and I heard in your Dance and Or podcast of Call Me Back, that first pro-Hamas rally, if you wish. I was there when it started, and I hope that we're also there when it will end as well. And as the national chair for Rabbis for Israel of Jewish National Fund, this coming Wednesday, I'll be leading a delegation through Sinai Temple with Jewish National Fund. We'll be in Tel Aviv, we'll be in Kedma, we'll be doing the work that JNF USA speaks about. And we're really proud that Sinai Temple and so many other congregations around this country are part of that as well. I cannot be prouder to bring not just our members, but also rabbis around this country to Israel, but also, of course, to the JNF USA Global Conference in Dallas. We were there in Denver, and we're going to continue to be there as we continue what we need to do. And now a word of Torah. Yom Ha'atzmaut obviously is on Wednesday, May 14th, or on Tuesday, May 14th. And the question is, do we say the Hallel service or not? And the rabbis ask, on Passover we do, but on Purim we do not. And what's the difference? It's because on Passover we didn't have a land of Israel. And the rabbis say you only say the Hallel service when God has brought miracles to save the Jewish people, only when there is a land of Israel. Since we didn't have it and we were outside the land of Israel during Passover, then we could say it. But on a holiday like Purim, when we had a land of Israel, but we were in exile, then we do not say the Hallel service. And on Yom Ha'atzmaut, even though there is debate in this group, I'm saying on Tuesday morning for Yom Ha'atzmaut, there's no better way to, and I don't use this word lightly, but to celebrate even in terms of times of turmoil and destruction and difficulty. Those words of Hallel will ring true around the Jewish world, around our friends in the Christian Zionist world, around all of our allies who might be afraid to speak, but we know within their hearts when we speak to them, we'll have the ability to do just what Professor Davidai is doing, just what our students on campus are doing, and what we all are doing here in the Jewish National Fund USA community globally. And so on behalf of Rabbis for Israel, I'm proud to be part of this organization and leading the way with all of you. And so if you are in Israel next week, I hope to say hello, shake your hand, and say these three words together that we've been saying these last 7 months. Am Yisrael Chai.
Over you to Stephanie.
Thanks, Rabbi. Rabbi Sherman is, as Saul said, our chair of Rabbis for Israel. I want to thank him for his commentary, his Torah, his wisdom, and for leading the upcoming mission. He leads not only Rabbis for Israel, but we are really proud that we have a diverse board of rabbis that are working alongside him from we're pluralistic, and we even have someone who is not Jewish on that board influencing us. So that is really great, and we're really moving forward. I'd like now to introduce Stephanie Affleck. She is the Executive Director of Israel Advocacy and Education Department for JNF USA, and Stephanie will share a new campus resource page and some info about our campus partners. So Stephanie, take it away.
Thank you so much, Michael. Thank you everyone for being here. Shabbat Shalom. I'm thrilled to see you all here today. I know we are all deeply disturbed by the rise of anti-Semitism and Jew hatred in the world. Jewish National Fund USA has swiftly mobilized to address the pressing issue. Leveraging our strengths, we are working with our campus partners closely, students supporting Israel Coalition on Campus, Yavna on Campus, and AAPI, to combat hate and promote understandings. Together, we are pooling resources, expertise, and efforts to confront anti-Semitism head-on. Through our collaboration, we are determined to make a meaningful impact and stand against Jew hatred. We have fostered new collaborations with groups such as End Jew Hatred and Mothers Against Campus Anti-Semitism that share our commitment. By aligning with these allies, we are strengthening our support network and advancing our efforts to fight the hatred and educate our Jewish students. Since October 7th, we've had many accomplishments at the Jewish National Fund USA in our Israel Advocacy and Education Department, despite the challenges we've been facing. Notably, we are proud to announce that within 2 weeks, we've organized a group of 94 Jewish students for our alternative break trip to Israel. This accomplishment underscores our commitment to providing transformative educational experiences despite difficult circumstances. We are so excited to see the impact this trip will have on our students. We also have 45 teens heading to the Alexander Muss High School in Israel for the summer, 30 more attending a teen volunteer mission in Israel, and have recently hosted over 25 teens on 2 volunteer missions, which we have never done before with teens. Our strong and growing Rabbis for Israel program, led by our very own Rabbi Sherman, has seen growth since October 7th. We have added 58 new rabbis for Israel. We have also continued to engage our alum and current awardees of our Faculty Fellowship Program and Caravan for Democracy program. These programs bring selected students and faculty leaders beyond the Jewish faith to Israel to see the realities on the ground. Now more than ever, it is important to continue these programs. We have had touch points with over 90% of faculty alumni and maintain strong continuous engagement. We provide resources and tools 24 hours a day. They, in return, report to us about their active and passive actions in support of Israel and academic dialogue. Our Caravan for Democracy alums have attended many webinars and also are in continued engagement with our Israel Advocacy and Education team. And finally, we are bringing 40 Jewish educators who lead day schools and synagogue religious schools to Israel in July to strengthen their work in Zionist education, because as we all know today, a strong Jewish identity and connection to Israel at a young age will galvanize the next generation of Jewish leaders and Israel supporters. We are so proud of all that we have accomplished, and we will continue our work and our mission to support the land and people of Israel. I'm pleased to share that we have launched a new campus resource page, which will come up on your screen in a minute, that consolidates resources from our campus partners, offering comprehensive and up-to-date information in one convenient place. This initiative aims to streamline access to support and services our campus partners offer. Along with this page is also our anti-Semitism reporting toolkit that we collaborated on with Mothers Against Campus Anti-Semitism, World Jewish Congress, and Combat Anti-Semitism Movement. This toolkit is unique in that when one reports an act of anti-Semitism on campus, an email is generated directly to the campus administrator. We at Jewish National Fund USA are able to create reports from the data that we have received that will show where and when the reporting is happening. The information will be very useful and help apply pressure to campuses to make changes going forward. And lastly, I am proud to share that we have established a campus resource fund to further our efforts of combating anti-Semitism and Jew hatred on campus. Like you, I'm looking forward to hearing from our guest speakers today. Thank you again for all being here in your time and wish you a restful Shabbat.
Thank you, Stephanie. As the Vice President for Zionist Education, the Zionist Continuum, I'm really proud of the work that the Education Department is doing, as well as Rabbis for Israel. You're going to hear from a lot more. But now I have a really special speaker, Shai Davidai. We are so thankful to have Shai here today. Shai has been tireless in his efforts to speak truth to power at Columbia and beyond. His voice has become a source of hope for many who need it. Shai is a Jewish Israeli. He's a father, a partner, and a Zionist. I will hand it over to Shai, and he can speak about his journey with you all. And Shai, you're doing great work. And I have to say, you know, I'm from Long Island. My rabbi is the other Rabbi Bugler Sr. So I know that Ellie, I'm sure, you know, has really brought, as well as you, Columbia to the forefront. So I want to thank you for that. Take it away, Shai.
So much. Thank you so much, Michael. The one word that I think everyone has been using about me, but it's just mistaken. Everyone says I've been tirelessly advocating, and no, I'm not tired. I'm very, very tired. I am exhausted, and I think we should acknowledge it. But many of us have been fighting for 7 months and are tired. It's okay to be tired. It's okay to be tired. We just have to keep fighting. You know, I only have a few minutes, and I was asked to talk about my journey, what I'm doing. So I want to take a 50,000 feet overlook of everything, and how did I get to this point? And if we really look at it in very, very broad terms, and maybe something that can help other people get going, is learning, seeing, and acting. That's what I've been doing. So I've spent most of my life learning about, I'm a psychologist by training, so learning about human psychology, learning about our people's history and culture from a theistic and also from an atheistic point of view, learning about the history of Israel, my country, both the good parts and the less good parts, learning about anti-Semitism. So I've spent a lot of my life just learning. And that learning was not enough. What happened next was seeing. When I was on campus for the first time, seeing the protests, seeing the hate, all the learning kind of came together with what I was experiencing. And after I saw what I saw, and knowing what I know from my lifetime of learning, that's when I decided to act. That's when I decided to stand up, do something. And it really was, I need to do something, anything, and I didn't know what or how. And I just chose to use my voice because that's the one thing that I have. I'm not a lawyer that knows how to sue. I am not in the media. I didn't have a social media following. I was just, what do I have that no one can take from me? And that's my voice. And I screamed it, used my voice as loud as possible. So for the past 7 months, one of the things that I've been doing is meeting groups, any group, from high schoolers to a senior citizens home, anything in between, just talking with people and telling them, educate yourself. Now, we all are educating ourselves. This is not coming from a patronizing point of view. I keep educating myself. Read what is being written, right? Hear different voices, different perspectives. But then it's not enough. I want you to go and observe with your own eyes. I want you to go, if it's safe for you, from a safe distance, to observe these protests. I want you to watch the videos coming out of them. I want you to see and hear the first-person accounts of the Jewish students on campuses, on on rabbis talking about what's happening in their congregations. I want you to see what's happening. And then once you've educated yourself, and once you've seen what's happening, I want you to act. And when I say act, use your own skills, use your own powers. Use your own style. A lot of people say, I agree with what you're doing, Shai. I don't like your style. And I say, perfect. That's great. Use your own style. Not a lot of people love my style, and that's fine. I can't control my style. That's who I am. And there are many different kinds of styles and place for many people to do different things. And some people are uncomfortable standing up on their own. So I tell them, you don't have to. Showing up is enough. You don't just have to speak up. You can show up. You can show up with Jewish National Fund when there's anything going on. You can show up with End Jew Hatred and the rallies that they organize and the calls for action. You can show up with Stand With Us. Whatever you do, do. That's my spiel, my point of view, because 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 50 years from now, our children, our grandchildren are going to ask us, what did you do? And there's only one wrong response. And that wrong response is nothing. As long as you did something, you educated yourself, you saw what's going on, and then you decided to act, I really believe we'll defeat this. And we talk about anti-Semitism coming in waves. Well, my hope is that this is the last wave, that we will really be able to stamp it out of society. I might be naive, I might be optimistic, but I'd rather be optimistic than pessimistic. So thank you everyone for giving me this chance to just speak. And I'm looking forward to listen to others in your stories.
I'm Scott Gendel, National Vice President for College Engagement for JNF. Thank you, Professor Shai Davidai, for your courage and leadership in our collective fight against Jew hatred on campus. Jewish students and their allies desperately need the sustenance and oxygen that your voice gives them. Kol Yisrael Aravim Zeh Bazeh. Every Jew is responsible for each other, and you, Shai, embody that mantra. It is now my privilege to introduce Elliott Sadoff, a senior at Columbia University who is studying political science in the Middle East. He is here today to share his experiences on being a Jewish student and advocate at Columbia University during these turbulent and treacherous times. We adults who love Israel and the Jewish people admire and support your valiant efforts. As I watched your recent appearance with Brian Kilmeade of Fox News, I was struck by your poise and commitment to the truth, to your truth, to our truth. I sense the tide is turning, and in no small part, that is because of powerful voices like our next speaker, Elliott Sadoff.
Yes, thank you for having me. As Scott said, my name is Elliott. I'm a senior at Columbia University. I'm in the dual degree program between Tel Aviv University and Columbia University. So as part of this program, I spent my first 2 years of college at Tel Aviv University in Israel, and the second 2 years of college at Columbia. And obviously had some expectation going into Columbia that anti-Israel and in some cases anti-Semitic rhetoric exists from professors, from students, from just the general atmosphere, as it's been a decades-long, years-long problem that has been well documented. And that hit me in the face right when I started at Columbia from orientation, having experiences with students. So like second they meet me, they meet my fellow Jewish and students, other students that study in Israel, asking about how we dealt with the occupation, how we dealt with apartheid going on. And that's a really crazy thing that just because I'm a Jewish student that studied in Israel, that I'm supposed to be held either responsible for the actions of that or having to speak to that first before really getting to know people. And obviously that was not a great introduction to Columbia, but it's only gotten worse since then. As I'm sure you've all seen, really picked up post October 7th, beginning immediately on October 8th, students on campus taking over, protesting almost nonstop since the afternoon of October 7th, I'm pretty sure, talking about the destruction of Israel, talking about how Israel has to be ended, has to be stopped. And obviously that was very bad. I'm sure you've all seen the documented instances of anti-Semitism on campus, but it since then has gotten a million times worse. Unfortunately, in the past, I believe 2.5 weeks now, since the encampment was set up in the middle of campus on the main quad, everything that everyone's been saying for the past few months and all the alarms that have been going out, some of those from JNF, from different organizations fighting anti-Semitism, standing up for Israel, all of that was kind of just left behind, and that there was this explosion of anti-Semitism on campus that's really left Jewish students, including me, feeling unsafe. And fortunately, I'm about to graduate and leave campus, but it was really not a great way to end my college experience, in that I'm a Jewish student, I'm a pro-Israel student, but and I have dedicated a lot of my time and my life to standing up for Israel and standing up for Jews, but by no means am I the most outspoken student leader on campus. I'm just a Jewish student who's Zionist, and due to no fault of my own, that's kind of taken over my life and the lives of my fellow Jewish students, and that we just want to go to class, we just want to graduate, we just want to be comfortable on campus expressing our ideas, and that's really what the university should be. Those are the values that the schools, including Columbia, should be promoting. And unfortunately, the past decades, the past years, the past months, the past weeks, however you zoom into it, we've seen nothing of that sort. And it's been terrible. It's been chaotic. I don't think there's any one sentence that I could give to describe that, but Jewish students have not felt safe on campus. And unfortunately, the universities have not been doing enough, as you all know, including Columbia, to stand up for Jewish students, to protect their right to be in the classroom safely, to express their own ideas. And I really don't know how we can go forward from here, and that we're seeing this all across the world, Jewish students not feeling safe on campus. And so far, there's not really a lot of positive signs that that's going to change for the better, for students to feel safe and express themselves and stand up for Israel. So I really think we have to come together as a Jewish community to find something new, to educate others, to make ourselves proud and able to stand up for ourselves. And I know JNF is doing some of that great work. I know with the toolkit they've just launched with lots of organizations to help Jewish students and educators. And hopefully we just have to continue that. We have to find something new to stand up for Jewish students and make them feel safe again. And thank you for having me.
Thank you, Elliott. You spoke amazing. I think you made everyone feel what you're going through. Everyone on the chat, we have your back. We're a national organization. We take this really seriously. We devote a huge part of our budget to Zionist education, and we're pivoting a little now because of what's going on in the world. And JNF works well with others, and we will work well with everyone across the country and the world to win this war that we're really in. And people like you are the benefit of it, and you really are the foot soldiers. So I really want to thank you on behalf of the 300 people on this call. I'm now pleased to introduce Emma Law-Oppman, who is the VP of Strategy and Operations for MACA, Mothers Against Campus Anti-Semitism. Now, these mothers certainly have your back, and her, along with her founder, Elizabeth Rand, and many other strong mothers have come together to provide a nonpartisan support and assistance to college moms and families to end the culture of anti-Semitism on campus. They have a Facebook group of over 65,000 moms, and it's growing. So Emma, take it away.
Hi, thank you. You covered a lot of the background, so thank you for doing that. I'm really honored to be here, and I appreciate everything everyone on this call is doing in this fight. I'm gonna preface it quickly and say you don't have to be a mother to join, or even a woman, parents, grandparents, anyone. I think a few students joined over the last few weeks too, because the up-to-date information that moms get, it's kind of crazy. A lot of what we do is we act as a hub, connect to resources and other groups who are leading the charge on anti-Semitism on campus. And I'm going to end quickly because I think it is important to note that even if your kid's situation is not quite as dire as Columbia or UCLA, it is important and we want to support it and get on it. So, everyone is welcome and we're thrilled to be here.
Thanks, Emma. There's one thing, if I was one of those students in the encampment being pro-Palestinian, I'd be afraid of you Jewish mothers because the power in numbers, and we can't do it alone. It's not like Emma said, it's not only Jewish mothers, it's Jewish fathers. And guess what? We're 2% of the population in the United States. We need to get other minorities involved in this fight because we are not fighting alone. We're fighting for everyone. And we all know that as Jewish people, we're the first ones to fight and stand up for others. We need them to join our fight. So now I'm going to introduce Michelle. Michelle Dote is the Director of Programming and Strategy at End Jew Hatred. End Jew Hatred is a nonpartisan grassroots civil rights movement focusing on achieving justice for the Jewish people. Michelle is here to share more about what she is doing.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having me. First off, JNF, you're doing amazing, amazing things. I was actually at the Water and Wine Gala a few weeks ago, and it was absolutely wonderful. So really kol hakavod for all you do. And it's an honor to be a part of this briefing. So it's really interesting. Thank you so much for the introduction of End Jew Hatred. So yes, we're a civil rights movement. We're nonpartisan, and we're rooted in the fact that everybody needs to be proud and empowered to protect their Jewish civil rights. So it's so interesting that both Shai, you so perfectly segued into speaking to activism. However it is that we act in our own ways, that's what's important to do. And I'll get to that in a minute. But, concurrently, Elliott also spoke to the fact that it's tough to be a student on campus, and it's tough to be a student on campus that's supposed to be armed with all facts about Israel, the conflict, history, et cetera, et cetera. So what our goal as a civil rights movement is that we don't need to arm students. And thankfully, I am, a very big proponent. Unity is strength, uniting with other organizations. So for instance, Stand With Us, Hasbara to the max, incredible. They're teaching that programming. And, we have all of these amazing Jewish organizations. So what we at End Jew Hatred focus on is empowerment and upholding your civil rights and being proud on campus. And this isn't just even students being a proud Jewish individual, but for now, when we speak to campus activism, that's, really what we're all about. So we are all about different kinds of activism, grassroots mobilization, so on the ground rallies. Actually, right now, there's a rally going on at Weill Cornell, because I'm sure a lot of you heard about the Ground Round seminar that was going to be. Even though it is virtual right now, we still need to hold admin accountable to ensure that things don't spiral out of control there. So we deal with grassroots mobilization to ensure that there are consequences for actions. We also deal with digital activism, is what I'm terming it. And I know a few people on this Zoom now are part of our amazing End Jew Hatred WhatsApp groups that are capped at 2,000 in one group, 1,000 in another group. And we deal with, I've accrued volunteer attorneys and letter drafters to get to work the second that we see something happen. We draft emails with grassroots partner orgs. We have volunteers that then get them into tiny URL, which essentially means the target is going to be getting 10,000 of the same email flooding their inboxes so that they're pressured to act. So that's another way that we act. So really dealing with social pressure on every level is what End Jew Hatred is all about. And now I'm just going to speak to the campus program. We have a fellowship program, and what the campus fellowship, what the fellows are tasked with is not at all competing with other fellows. The End Jew Hatred Campus Fellow serves as sort of a segue and umbrella of all the other fellows on campus to get voices out to, if there is a problem that true support, social support is needed, the End Jew Hatred Fellow is there. So just a couple of examples. Our Hofstra End Jew Hatred Fellow just last week hosted a seminar on Jewish civil rights with our one and only Shai Davidai and a few other, and Emily Austin, some great speakers. The goal is civil discourse. The goal is getting to the point where we could be proud of being a Jew, and regardless of geopolitics and what's going on the other side of the world, it is not okay for somebody to spit on someone and call them a Zionist baby killer. That's our goal. So our goal is that piece of pride and empowerment. Another example, our Duke campus fellow, there's a freedom expression bridge. Where you could go paint murals, this and that. So a couple of months ago, someone painted watermelon, river to the sea with all this rhetoric. So the Duke campus fellow got busy, I think got about 10 other kids to that bridge, got paint and painted over the entire, all of that, the horrific wording, etc., painted over it with 3 simple words: end Jew hatred. And she sort of got this reel that she made to go viral. And it also then, caused administration to speak with her. And administration got an email out to the entire campus community that this rhetoric of river to the sea is not okay. And that's not within the confines of freedom of expression. So things like that, that's standing up. And that's sort of nipping things in the butt before they get even worse and spiral out of control. Our campus fellows are trying to really maintain that discourse. So that's who we are. And, I think it's important to also say that everybody that is interested in upholding Jewish civil rights are part of the movement. So, just align, I sometimes liken us, I shouldn't, but I do, to a not corrupt Black Lives Matter, in the sense that we're a civil rights movement. We want every race, religion, regardless where you are in the political spectrum, standing with us just as we have stood with civil rights movements of the past. So we have the campus program, and then we have these amazing WhatsApp chats, which I encourage all of you to get involved. I push out action items daily. I know that I see some people smiling because they get 30 times a day, click and sign this, come out to this rally, and we're making waves. Little wins are big wins right now. So by all means, maybe I'll actually drop the WhatsApp chat link in here. If anybody wants to join, feel free. And that's it. And I'm just going to leave that we're very big with unity. So our goal is to unite all of our Jewish organizations. And one beautiful tidbit I'll leave you all with is that we formed, not we, but we joined the formation of a Long Island leadership coalition. I actually have the pleasure of working with Ashley Amrani as the JNF leader, from there. But it's so beautiful because it's essentially End Jew Hatred, AJC, ADL, Stand With Us, FID, et cetera, et cetera. The goal is uniting and letting our community know that we are a united, we're a united being, and all of us have core competencies in different areas. So yes, we're more grassroots mobilization, and Stand With Us is more education, et cetera, et cetera. But something like this is what we need to mimic, I think, on the grand scale. So that's just a piece that I just sort of as food for thought for everybody, because JNF, you are incredible, and your budget is, who knows how many fold what ours is. So this is something that I think we should try to work together and also form. So that's who we are. Be in touch anytime. And thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you, Michelle. That Long Island Coalition, I'm from Long Island, and I've been talking with David Black for over 15 years to get the Jewish organizations to work together. And it is happening. And, we all have different missions, but we all have one goal. And Michelle, thank you for telling people about what you do and how we can get involved. Now, JNF builds Israel, but we also are so proud of our education department. And we are seeking out people like Michelle, people like Emma, people like Shai to educate around the country. And now I'm going to introduce another group, Judd, Sidney, and Robin Friedman, who are co-founders of Tribe Talk. Tribe Talk prepares and empowers Jewish students and their allies to address today's most challenging issues of anti-Semitism and anti-Israel bias on campus through educational workshops and online resources. So we're going to hear from them right now. And I thank everyone on this call, 300 strong, that took time out of your day to hear what everyone has to say. All right, take it away. Tribe
Thank
Talk.
you so much. We really appreciate being here. And Michelle, I don't know if you know this, but in November, we actually did a program at University of Michigan where we actually partnered with End Jew Hatred. We did about an hour and a half of education, and you guys came in then and did about an hour and a half of grassroots activism, and it was amazing. So thank you very much for that. So Tribe Talk was formed 5 years ago now, by 3 professional women who all had rising seniors who were on their way to college. And we realized, one, we had 4 kids between us. 1 was at a public school, 1 was at a Jewish day school, and 2 were private school. And between us, we realized that none of our kids was prepared for the highly politicized environment that they were about to face. And we realized if our kids weren't prepared, there were a lot of other kids that weren't prepared. So we set out to do initially just a seminar called Know Before You Go. 5 years later, we are a 501c3. We educate teens, young adults, parents, allies across the country. So what do? We have a signature Standing Strong workshop that we do. It's about 90 minutes. It includes an anti-Semitism overview. It teaches kids what anti-Semitism is, but more importantly, what it isn't. We compare historical anti-Semitic tropes and their modern day iterations. So we talk about deicide, bubonic plague compared to COVID, blood libel, pogroms, Elders of Zion. They have no idea what the Elders of Zion is, but believe me, they know what Kanye is. And they now know that what he spouts comes directly from that. We talk about the Holocaust. We talk about Israel and modern day anti-Semitism as anti-Zionism. We use Natan Sharansky's test for the 3D test for when criticism of Israel constitutes anti-Semitism. We do myth busting from our work on the college campus. We talk about our Jews are indigenous and decolonizers. We talk about Israel's neighbors. We teach them what ethnic cleansing and apartheid really are. We talk about Gaza, Hamas, Palestinians being offered statehood, the IDF. We talk about ways to really support Palestinians. We talk about anti-Semitism in the social media. We have a lot of discussion about From the River to the Sea and Free Palestine. We talk about when and how to respond to anti-Semitic comments. We do in-person conversation starters for difficult conversations. We talk about things to do when encountering anti-Semitism. How do you actually handle it? And then we practice with real life scenarios from both high school and college campus. I will tell you that, I'll give you one example about why it is so important, I know you all know this, to educate our students right now. Jude and I spent last week going to encampments in Massachusetts. So we went to Harvard, we went to MIT, we went to Emerson, we went to Tufts, and we talked to the protesters. And this is a very common conversation that we had. How do you think your Jewish friends feel when you're yelling intifada, intifada, revolution, revolution? Oh, intifada doesn't mean anything violent. We condemn violence. Okay, you condemn violence. So do you condemn Hamas's actions on 10/7? What's 10/7? How do you feel about the fact, what are you really protesting for? We're protesting for Palestinian rights. How do you feel about the fact that the Palestinians have offered a state 4 times and they've turned it down all 4 times? We don't know anything about that, and we can't talk to you anymore. The lack of education by many of the protesters, some of them are ideologues, some of them are not even related to the schools, by many of the students that we spoke with was shocking. And these kids need to be educated. We have educated since last summer, so almost a year, we've educated over 2,000 teens and adults. Those are both Jewish students and non-Jewish students. We educate everywhere. We go to JCCs, synagogues. We've been the guest speakers at federations across the country. We do workshops at summer camps. Jewish summer camps have us, and we come in and we work with the students. Even if they give us 42 minutes, which sometimes they do, that's the period, 42 minutes, and we still do it. We are willing to give as much or as little education as we can to help these students. And I'm going to turn it over to Jude for a minute to give you some idea of the impact that we're having.
Thanks, everyone. It's great to see so many wonderful JNF family folks that I have worked with over the many years, having been a board member a number of years ago, and really thrilled to be here. So Stephanie, thank you for inviting us, including us, and seeing so many familiar faces. So briefly, and forgive me, I wanted to share a few of the highlights because the impact of our work is pretty extraordinary. So a couple of notes. This is actually from a mother of a child at St. John's Prep here in the Boston area from a training that we just did last week. She wrote to us, "Thank you for this incredible opportunity to join with your community last Sunday. My son and I had one of the best discussions we've ever had since he has come of age on the way home from Marblehead." That's from the history teacher forwarding along. Then a rabbi here in Boston shared this, which again, as a rabbi and as a parent and a participant, this speaks volumes. "I was grateful for Tribe Talk's ability to synthesize a great deal of important information in a relatively brief learning experience. The language was clear and digestible for my teen, and I was grateful to be able to share in the learning experience with her so we could continue the conversation into the future. There is never an easy moment to raise matters of growing anti-Semitism. With our teens, and the Tribe Talk program was both a great reason to set aside that time and a great support in beginning some and continuing other important conversations in our family." That's Rabbi Todd Markley. And then the last one, if you'll indulge me, is from a tremendously supportive organization, Camp, who actually shared a testimonial from last summer. "In the summer of 2023, Tribe Talk led an informative and compelling program for our 3 Pembroke, Tel Noah, and Tevye camps." We figured out it's the Cohen camps. "For the CITs, CAs, and door-to-door teens who had just gotten back from their time in Israel. The program focused on anti-Semitism awareness, strategies to use when someone would experience it, and resources to explore for help and more information. Tribe Talk's approach using real and current scenarios made it all compelling and relevant. Some of these scenarios they included had happened to some of our staff and CITs, and they were invited to share their experience as well. The conversations, especially based on the scenarios, hit home for so many. Our international and non-Jewish staff members were engaged thoroughly, and everyone wanted more information. On the surveys, many included their interest in learning more about the Israeli and Palestinian conflict and the perspectives. And there were questions, lots of questions. We have many Israeli staff members who either had just finished their army service or were in reserves. This was a challenging yet expected moment, and Tribe Talk was able to navigate the discussions and perspectives. This was before October 7th. We had planned this program because we felt it was our responsibility way back in 2022 and 2023 to offer a program for our teams to share, learn, and have tools for when anti-Semitism could, might, and will happen. And then October 7th happened. We had a follow-up with parents of teens to share the information and resources. Tribe Talk is scheduled to come back to the summer camps of 2024. For obvious reasons, we feel it is our responsibility to provide Tribe Talk's expertise and programming. We continue to need our tools. We continue to need tools as our world continues to change. Tribe Talk offers this in digestible, relevant, and intentional way. Jonathan Cohen, President. So that gives you a little bit of an insight of some of the work. It tells the story of the impact we're having. And I've got many, many more. So, and again, we got an amazing one from the Essex County District Attorney, Paul Tucker, who again came, not a Jewish individual, learned a lot and observed in the training we just did. We're super excited to be collaborating with the JNF family with an upcoming program. I think maybe that'll be as a wrap up, Stephanie. I don't want to take anybody's thunder here, but we're really, really excited. Obviously, the work we're doing is really having an incredible impact, and we are really, really thrilled to be in partnership with all of you. I will put in the chat ways for people to connect with our work. Please follow us on Instagram. We've got lots of followers, not quite as many as Maka, but we're working on it, Emma. We're working on it. Join our tribe, and we'll be up at 100,000 before you know it. But we're really, really thrilled to be here with all of you today. And again, unfortunately, this is a marathon, not a sprint. I think we all know that. And we have a lot of work to do together, but we are here to be a resource for all of you and your families. And thank you so much.
Thanks, Jude. Thanks, Robin. Yeah, everyone, that is a really good suggestion. We should all join these organizations on a Facebook group or whatever social media, because it will really help their algorithms. And Robin, I think the solution, I wish we could take a bus to the Columbia encampment, put all the people that are there and bus them down to 35 Wall Street and let them go walk through the Nova Festival exhibit that's currently in New York. And really see firsthand what happened on October 7th. I know I was deeply affected when I went. It was like going through a Holocaust museum, and I was visibly shaken the 2 hours that I spent in there. So thank you for all you guys do. We have a special guest who just popped up on our Zoom, and she is Maya Plotnik, and she is the president of the student government at Columbia University. So she's going to speak to us for 2 minutes.
Hi, I'm Maya Platek. I'm an Israeli student at Columbia. I'm one of the incoming undergraduate student body presidents, so I'll be actually taking over as president next week and a member of SSI at Columbia. What we are currently seeing on campus is the effects of months of devolvement of appropriate communication and dialogue that has escalated to truly depressing amounts of tension and anti-Semitism on campus. Rather than encouraging beneficial and appropriate conversation across multiple perspectives, our university has put an end to all conversation on campus. Although we have seen anti-Semitism since the beginning of this academic year, this last month saw incident after incident with very little action taken against it. My friends were physically assaulted, verbally attacked, and socially ostracized for their nationality, ethnicity, and religion. Though everybody should have the freedom of speech, nobody should have the freedom to harass. However, this isn't just coming from fellow students. Faculty and administration have played a key role in dehumanizing us and the rising tide of anti-Semitism on our campus. On October 8th, tenured Columbia professor Joseph Massad wrote an article where he described Hamas's brutal massacre as awesome, incredible, and a stunning victory. Naive, believing that Columbia would do the right thing, I started a petition that garnered nearly 80,000 signatures in an effort to remove him from campus. It took Columbia 6 months, which it only did under the pressure of Congress, to officially condemn that despicable rhetoric. However, the damage was already done. When an entire department has advocated for the actions of a terrorist organization, utilizing event after event, class after class, to explain how Hamas is legitimate, it isn't a surprise when you see well-intentioned students who truly believe they're advocating for justice led astray. Jewish students on campus have been sounding the alarm on this since October 7th, and it is devastating to see that the university has not been listening to us. Up until now, dialogue and conversation has been shut down. We've seen this within academic departments. We have also seen this with students who, in complete good faith, attempted to engage in conversation with members of the encampment in an effort to encourage dialogue, and were effectively pushed out by faculty members in the encampment that chose to advocate against multifaceted conversation. We also saw this when faculty members created a shield to prevent Jewish students from entering campus resources. I think that this is absolutely unacceptable, and Columbia must do whatever it can to ensure and encourage conversations in the future, and do whatever necessary to ensure that every student is safe. Yet, as the incoming student body president, I want to emphasize that I'm no longer just representing our community, but must do whatever I can to represent the students on campus. I ran on a campaign focused on dialogue and communication, and I have hope that this summer break will enable us to click a restart button, and that the university might actually be able to start facilitating events that encourage conversation rather than silencing. Columbia's Jewish community is truly incredible, with some of the most resilient, eloquent, and greatest leaders I've ever met. Even though at times it feels that we are standing alone, it is through events like this that it's clear that we have an entire community that is standing behind us. Thank you.
Maya, you said it best. Like, we are standing behind you and people like you. You know, today we heard from 3 advocates. We heard from different organizations that JNF is partnering it, working with to really combat anti-Semitism. We heard from our Rabbis for Israel chair, who's going to Israel with rabbis, and you know, they are really going to come back and educate the community. And you know, JNF has their own education programs that we do so well. And one of them is JNF Caravan for Democracy, which is so important, especially now. We happen to have my friend, Dr. Logan Levkoff, on it, and she's going to tell you all about Caravan, all about the great work we do. And she's been to Israel a couple of times now. If you follow her on Facebook, she's certainly not a shrinking violet. And she's going to close out this presentation. I want to wish the 300 people on here Shabbat Shalom. May we have peace. And I'm really happy that we could bring this to all of you. So Logan, go ahead.
Thank you, Michael. Hello, everyone. My name is Logan Levkoff. I am the proud co-founder and chair of Caravan for Democracy. I'm a JNF New York City board member. I am a very public Zionist, and I am the mother of 2 teens, one of whom just finished his freshman year at Wake Forest University. I'd love to tell you that his campus was free of these issues, but that would be a lie. These issues do exist, though admittedly they are nowhere near as large as Columbia or UCLA or my own shameful alma maters, Penn and NYU. But I will say his administration has been effective and supportive in shutting down hateful protests, but these protests at Wake are led by an anti-Zionist Jewish professor. And needless to say, when you grow up in a proudly Zionist home, when you've spent 4 years in high school fighting anti-Semitism, when you go to Alexander Muss High School in Israel, and when you volunteer with the IDF through Sarel, you find yourself smack in the middle of any campus issue around Israel, as all of you know. But that's why we are here. We are here to cultivate and celebrate bravery and integrity. I want to say thank you to our amazing speakers, to all of you who put yourselves on the front lines, whether those fronts are across from an encampment, online, in a classroom, or in uniform. Zionism is the movement for Jewish self-determination in our ancestral homeland, Eretz Yisrael. I don't care how many times someone tries to malign Zionism. This is what it means. And it is more important than ever to unapologetically educate our youth and ourselves about Zionism. I fear that for many of us, we got too comfortable. We had the luxury of thinking that Israel needed us more than we needed her. And we could not have been more wrong. This has never been just about Israel. It's about us, the global Jewish community. October 7th and its aftermath, the rise of emboldened and unapologetic Jew hatred has shown all of us what a world without Israel would really look like. And it is not a pretty picture. So it's on us. If you drop the ball on talking about our history and our ancestral connections to Israel, pick that ball back up. Game on. Take your family to Israel. Send your kids to Israel. Send your teens to Muss. Go on volunteer trips. Engage in Israeli culture. Learn conversational Hebrew. Vote in Eurovision. And don't forget about our allies. We have been proudly running Caravan for Democracy for over 13 years, long before the world woke up to the insidious institutionalized anti-Semitism masked as anti-Zionism in our universities. Caravan's goal is and has always been to facilitate constructive dialogue about Israel and the Middle East on college campuses across America by giving non-Jewish student leaders a unique opportunity to experience Israel firsthand. Caravan allows participants to see Israel's contributions to the world, her vibrant democracy, and her commitment to peace in the region by learning from diverse speakers, exploring the land, and creating, and this is the key, productive and respectful discourse with peers. This mission is more important now than ever before. We are used to doing things alone, but we have allies and we need to be activating them. The best way to combat the scourge of anti-Semitism and anti-Israel propaganda is to get people to Israel. People who visit Israel develop deep pride, confidence, and the wherewithal to combat hate because they have the facts, they have connection, they have roots, and they refuse to let anyone take that away from them. In the end, my plea to all of you, support Israel, visit Israel, see the Israeli spirit, the resilience, the devotion to justice, and yes, you need to witness the heartbreak too, because we are one family, and whether we like it or not, October 7th and its aftermath are part of our story as diaspora Jews too. And this next chapter in our story, we get to control. But we will never be able to do that if our connection to our homeland is solely based on stories and not based on firsthand experience. On Sunday, next Sunday, I will leave for my 5th trip to Israel since December. If you've heard me speak on a JNF Zoom before, you've heard me say this, that my family is slightly worried that I'm going to make Aliyah without telling them, and they may very well be right. This trip will definitely not be my last, because Today, I am proud to announce that Stephanie Afric and I will be leading the inaugural mission of Adhout, JNF USA's first parent-teen volunteer and leadership mentorship program in Israel. For 4 days beginning October 18th, we will be working and rebuilding the land, meeting influential voices, and developing the skills to combat Jew hatred and enhance Jewish pride. Participants must be at least 15 and excited and prepared to develop the tools to become leaders in their own communities. And this special mission will run parallel to our other parent-teen missions that week as well. If this is something you're interested in, please reach out to us. We are in the fight of our lives, but I am certain that this is the most important fight we will ever have. And based on personal experience, I can tell you that it is impossible for our kids to fight if they don't know that we have their back, that we will fight for them, alongside them, and if push comes to shove, we will make our communities very uncomfortable for anti-Semites. Before I close, I want to attempt to non-gratuitously plug JNF's Global Conference. It would be easy for this to be your basic advertisement, but it isn't. For many Jews, the world has felt incredibly lonely. Come to Dallas in November. Come be with people who share your values and your passions. Come meet us and say hi. I can promise you that these days are inspiring. And please don't forget about our incredible campus resource page. I hate that we have to have one, but I am so very glad that we do. So before I turn it back to Saul, I want to say Shabbat Shalom. Thank you so much for participating today. And most important, Am Yisrael Chai. Saul, the floor is yours.
So thank you to everybody. As you can see, JNF is the glue that's bringing together all these great organizations. JNF USA is deeply committed to student education and support on and off of campus. Our anti-Semitism reporting tool, as has been mentioned, we didn't spend much time on it, but it's an incredible tool. I do want to mention that the concept and the funding for this tool actually came from the law firm of Wilson Sonsini, who took the effort and the concept of putting that anti-Semitism tool together with that reports. The students can use it to send a letter off to their administrators at their colleges. And maybe we'll do a separate one just to educate everybody on that tool alone. So, Michael, thank you for getting this all together. Stephanie at JNF for putting this incredible Zoom together. Am Israel Chai and Shabbat Shalom.